Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar called Holiday Predictions, What to Expect Based on Data from 500 Million Shoppers. I'm Debbie House, Editor-in-Chief of Retail Touchpoints, and I'll be moderating today's presentation. We're honored today to be joined by Caila Schwartz and Kenney from Salesforce, who will look back at Holiday 2017, review predictions for Holiday 2018, and talk about which strategies and technologies are likely to succeed this year. This webinar is the final session in the series of 7 presented as part of the Retail Touchpoints 2018 Retail Strategy and Planning Series. During the series, attendees have had the opportunity to hear from leading industry experts who are discussing the most important topics on retailers' minds today. By registering for one session, attendees have access to all complimentary presentations, both live and on demand. This series is presented by Retail Touchpoints. On this slide, you can find out how to reach us at our retailtouchpoints.com website, on Twitter, and LinkedIn. For those of you who might be new to Retail Touchpoints, here's a quick overview. We're an all-digital media company publishing e-newsletters 3 times a week that go out to our more than 50,000 retail executive subscribers. We cover the industry via daily news, features and special reports, exclusive industry surveys, and multimedia presentations. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our newsletter at retailtouchpoints.com. I want to let you know that we've just announced that registration is open for the 2019 Retail Innovation Conference being held in New York City May 6 to 8. You can find out more information at retailinnovationconference.com. We hope to see you there. By participating in this Retail Strategy and Planning Series, attendees have the opportunity to win a $10 Starbucks gift card each day and also some free passes to the 2019 Retail Innovation Conference. Good luck with that. Today's presentation, we're using the On24 platform. Right now, you should be viewing the On24 dashboard, which shows the live viewing screen. By clicking on the Questions widget on the right-hand side of the screen, you can type in questions during the live presentation and press Submit. You'll also find a widget named Resources under Questions. There you can download assets that our presenters have provided. All you have to do is click on the resource and it'll automatically download. And we invite you to share comments on Twitter during the session using the hashtag RSP18. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the live feed. If you're not able to attend one or more of the sessions, they're all available free to registrants. You can access them on demand at your convenience. To learn more, you can go to the Retail Touchpoints website. Before I introduce today's speakers, I just want to remind the audience that the presentation is slated for approximately 30 to 35 minutes with time for live questions at the end. Once again, we invite you to submit questions in the On24 questions area as they come to mind. Our presenters have agreed to stay online following the presentation to respond to your questions. And I just want to point out that the webinar is being recorded and all attendees will receive an archive link to the presentation to go back and review or share with colleagues. So our speakers today are Caila Schwartz, who's a Senior Industry Strategist at Salesforce Commerce Cloud, formerly Demandware. Her background includes extensive data analysis and storytelling, and her main focus is giving retailers a competitive edge by identifying new opportunities based on data-driven evidence. She's been with Salesforce since 2014. And we're going to hear from Kenney, who's Head of Consumer Insights at Salesforce Commerce Cloud and a thought leader on data-driven digital commerce trends. Rick spearheaded the Salesforce Shopping Index and pioneered Commerce Cloud's benchmarking practice, which identifies growth opportunities for clients, while working within the retail practice team as Director of Strategic Initiatives and Regional Director of Customer Success. Rick joined the business from eDialog, which is now Zeta Interactive, where he led a portfolio of enterprise retail and media client engagements and specialized in email contact strategy. So with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Rick to begin. Welcome, Rick.
Debbie, and hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We have a power-packed greatest hits album of all things holiday. We're going to do a couple of things today. We're going to dig into last year's holiday and then unveil the best predictions we have for what's to come this year in holiday. So our program is separated into 3 pieces today. Like I mentioned, we have that holiday look back. We will pick up right where we left off last year and share some of those findings. Then we'll jump right into those 2018 predictions. Here's what's to come at the biggest time of year. And we'll end with a little game that we call Buzz or Bust on some of the key topics that are shaping headlines around retail today. one of the really exciting things that we get to do is we get to really tell the true shopping stories across the cloud. So the analysis that we're pulling from is looking at 500 million shoppers that create more than 1 billion visits. That's a lot of shopping activity. And the periods we're going to focus on will be last year and this year's holiday period. The way we define that is we start with the Tuesday prior to American Thanksgiving, and we run all the way through Boxing Day. We also try to keep that normalized in terms of number of days. So you see those days, 20 November through 26 December, matched to last year's 21 November through 27 December. Same number of days to keep things on a level playing field. We'll talk more about the shape of the holiday as we go forward. Also worth noting, this is global in nature. Unless otherwise specified, we're talking about what's happening globally. The emphasis inside of that global data set is on North America and Europe. So let's pick up on holiday 2017. We had a massive holiday last year and a lot to be gleaned and learned from it. So let's dig right in. And the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to walk you through a little infographic that we pulled together last year, and I'll build a few data points into that to really tell the story of the anatomy of the season. So here we are, anatomy of the 2017 shopping season. There's a lot to be learned from what happened last year, and certainly a lot of the predictions that we dig into are weighted heavily both towards recency factors from this year, but also what happened last year and how like a Q3 period and into the holiday of last year will help shape what the predictions look like. What you should know right off the bat is that last year, for the second year in a row, Black Friday globally was a bigger day than Cyber Monday. In fact, not only was it a bigger day, but it's actually growing faster than Cyber Monday as well. You see the numbers here. Black Friday grew 32% year over year. We'll see a similar trend as we dig into the 28 detail, but please do know that if you're looking for the big shopping day, it's not Cyber Monday anymore. That may have been and certainly was #1 digital shopping day before, but when it comes to e-commerce, the #1 global day is Black Friday. And also, as we flesh out that season a little further, you see a couple other really interesting anatomy of the season trends. Last year, we saw that period of Cyber Week, which begins again that Tuesday prior to American Thanksgiving and runs through and including Cyber Monday, that accounted for 33% of the entire season's revenue. Just 7 days, 33%. Guess what? It's going to be bigger this year. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. Also worth noting that if you're looking for the halfway point, it happens early. December 3rd is when we have half of all e-commerce shopping complete. And think about that for a minute. That means you have to start fast because folks are emptying their wallets. They're using those cards or digital wallets early in the season. So if you want to be there, if you want to have a great holiday season, it certainly is made early. Also worth noting is the growth of some of the other days besides just Friday and Monday. In fact, last year we saw 33% growth from Thanksgiving Day through Cyber Sunday. What we're seeing is this trend that a lot of that shopping is happening before Monday. And in fact, we'll talk a little bit about Monday later on, but certainly Monday is a later, almost looked at as a later day season now because shoppers have some fatigue at that point too. There are some reasons though that Monday will sustain and it will retain its #2 standing overall as the #2 shopping day, digital shopping day of the season. And it wouldn't be complete to talk about the holiday without talking about one of the most dominant elements that we've seen in the past 20 years. Mobile is absolutely shaping what happens overall in retail, but certainly during the shopping season. We saw some massive, massive numbers last year. 61% of all traffic just on a phone and 40% of orders being placed on a phone. Maybe more impressively, though, I've got a couple of days called out below. Thanksgiving Day is the first time ever that we saw computers accounting for less than half of the orders. And then the big one, Christmas Day, December 25th, was the biggest mobile day in terms of share that we saw. 68% of all traffic and a full 50% of orders placed just on a phone. It's certainly a tease towards what lies ahead, both in this season but in subsequent years as well, as we see that collision course towards mobile only. So that's the look back of 2017. Like I mentioned, we can learn a lot from it, and certainly a lot of the predictions that we have for 18 are shaped by what happened last year. But to go through and to unwrap holiday 2018, Caila, tell us what we expect to see.
Thanks, Rick. Yeah, we certainly had an exciting holiday season 2017, and now that we're only 2 months away from the 2018 holiday shopping season, this really begs the question, what are we going to see dominate the headlines this year? So we've compiled our shopper data that Rick just shared, and we made several predictions about what will define the upcoming season. And our first prediction is all about mobile. We've talked a lot about mobile these last few years, and this season will be no different. Mobile will make registers ring this holiday season. And this season, we expect to see more purchases being made with a mobile phone than any other device. We've been talking about this moment for a long time, but holiday 2018 will be the year where mobile order share will hit that critical milestone. And, this will be a critical turning point for mobile. Last year, as Rick just shared, we saw mobile lead for traffic at 61%, as it has been leading for the last couple of years. But mobile order share trailed behind, capturing only 40% of all those orders. But this season will be a critical one for mobile order share. We expect 46% of all orders for the season will be placed through a mobile device. And on peak days, such as Christmas Eve, we'll see mobile order share reaching 54%. And we'll even see mobile traffic share reaching 72%. So, this season will really be that turning point for mobile when it comes to order share. And it will really be the point at which, going forward, mobile will start to dominate orders. When we think about how far we've come with mobile, the numbers are really astounding. This holiday season in 2018, we will see more visits coming from mobile devices than we did for all of e-commerce traffic in 2015. Think about that. More shoppers will shop solely from their phones in 2018 than all e-commerce shoppers in 2015. Mobile's impact is going to be huge this season. But the reality is that shoppers still do prefer to shop in store. When we polled shoppers, we found that 46% of them reported that they prefer shopping in the physical store. That's almost half of all your shoppers. And we know that while they're in the store, 83% of shoppers aged 18 to 44 reported using their phones. So whether to research, compare prices, or even buy, the phone is a critical part of that in-store journey. So as retailers, one of the challenges this season will be bridging those physical and digital realms. Stores are still a very important part of the shopper journey. And we expect to see retailers this season using their stores to entice shoppers. We'll see more store-only promotions and experiences. And we even expect to see some retailers experimenting with beacons to guide the shopper through their in-store journey. Now, when we look back to 2017, we saw an interesting trend emerging with the use of mobile wallets. Mobile wallets are a really great way to flatten the mobile checkout process. When we look at the average mobile checkout, it typically consists of about 3 pages, and those pages are filled with form fields. The shopper has to tap in all of their order details. It's really not a seamless experience for the mobile shopper. And last year we saw that during peak days for last-minute shopping, the Thursday and Friday before Christmas, 40% of shoppers turned to the convenience of mobile wallets to complete their last-minute shopping. Johnson & Murphy saw really great success with mobile wallets right before the 2017 holiday shopping season. They chose to implement Apple Pay, and they did their rollout fairly quietly with what they called a soft launch. And they were really surprised to see that even without much promotion, 15% of their shoppers gravitated towards Apple Pay in just the first weekend. So what was really cool about this is their shoppers sought it out and they found it. And probably the greatest evidence that mobile wallets are reducing that checkout funnel is that their Apple Pay buyers spent about 90 fewer seconds on site when compared to non-Apple Pay buyers. So it's really clear that these shoppers that choose Apple Pay are having a much better checkout experience.
I love that example, and one of my favorite examples of how mobile is reducing friction in an in-store environment is what the folks at Stance did. And Stance, if you're not familiar, you should be. They make fantastic socks, high design, super comfort, and you will thank me later for finding a few gifts on your holiday shopping list. But what Stance did back in June of this year is they launched in-store mobile checkout, self-checkout on your own device, no app required, and a super seamless process. Find a barcode, scan that through your browser's camera, and then actually it adds to a cart. You get through the cart very quickly by using either Apple Pay, like Caila just mentioned, or even the credit card, and you walk out the door after you show that receipt on your phone to the associate. A super seamless process, and I love the quote from Paula here that Stance guests will never wait in a line ever again. There isn't value in waiting in a line, so we can remove huge barriers and challenges that the shopper faces that actually could abandon their visit or have a walked sale opportunity. If we can do that, great things happen in the retail environment. Stance is certainly bringing that to light. And so when we talk about and wrap up this mobile component, as you think about what to do this holiday season, there are really four aspects. One, especially on that mobile phone, make sure you're focusing on findability. That's things like product recommendations and site search, and how are you getting the most bang for your buck with those opportunities. We just talked about reducing friction. It is such an opportunity in the mobile checkout, but also in the in-store environment. How can you have your mobile phone, that actual shopper's mobile phone, working in favor of reducing friction? And of course, when it comes to great mobile best practices, you need to think, how can I be faster? And of course, what can I do with my UX in order to make sure that those keyboards are the appropriate ones when you go through a checkout process, or that you're showing all the right products that you need to in a very condensed area and facility on that device. Which brings us to our second big prediction for the year, which is that AI-based product recommendations will have an outsized impact. So here's the big number. This year, this Christmas holiday shopping season, 35% of all digital revenue will come from those shoppers that click or tap on a product recommendation. That's more than a third of all e-com revenue coming from the folks that are influenced by recommendations. This is massive. And if you're not yet convinced that personalization and in particular product recommendations are having a huge impact, hopefully this number helps you get there. And while most of those product recommendations are being clicked or tapped because they're sitting on the bottom of a product detail page, that is not the only place where it should be. There's certainly opportunities throughout the entire shopper journey, starting at homepage, landing page, site search results, category pages. You can actually immerse and inject personalization into those different points along the journey. You will see certainly great results, and that's what we've seen across Commerce Cloud as well. And there's a lot of precedent for this too. We look back on last year, and we called out the biggest shopping day of that season, Black Friday, and 30% of all revenue that particular day was driven by personalization. This is also the opportunity to think about your shoppers and the context that they are in. You will see shoppers that you know, that have bought from you before. You may have sent that email to them, they opened, and they tapped on their way into your site. And for those, it's great to have personalization, but don't forget about those folks that you may not know that might be browsing or buying for a friend, for a boyfriend, an aunt, an uncle, a child, anyone. They're gifting. But even those gifters need to be connected to product. And by looking and turning towards product recommendations, you can help even those shoppers find their way to the right gift or product that they're looking for. And one trailblazer I love to cite, one of my favorite brands that we get to work with is Stonewall Kitchen. I've got a sweet tooth, and I've found my way into spending far too much money with Stonewall Kitchen because They make some of the best spreads and jams and jellies, and it's good for me, but it's great gift ideas too. But what I love that they've done is a couple of different things. On the left-hand side, you see an image of how they've actually brought recommendations into their homepage. So they haven't buried their recommendations on the bottom of a product detail page. They brought them into the homepage, into cart. And while not shown, they also do that with changing the sort of site search results and category pages as well. They're doing incredible things with personalization to really immerse that shopper in intelligence. But also, and slightly separately, there's a screenshot on the side of a custom gift that they allow their shoppers to create. And as you think about this holiday season, it's both about things like personalization, but also being able to customize what you provide in Surface to your shoppers and allow them the ability to actually create some of those. And while these might be things that your merchants can put together and they might not be as driven by AI and personalization, the concept of being able to provide relevant products to that shopper that they can actually take advantage of and gift is an important one. And you will see a lot of this season. And while customized products tend to be really hot in apparel and in footwear, it applies across a number of different retail verticals, and certainly in food, it's something that is very valuable during the gifting season as well. I mentioned earlier about not burying product recommendations. We did some research on this earlier this year, and what we found was actually to place them with the most benefit is to put those recommendations just below the product description, but above reviews. We saw a better conversion rate and higher add to cart rates when folks actually brought those product recommendations to a higher spot on that product detail page. They can get lost if you put them down too low. Take advantage of them by having them in a very principal spot on your PDP as well. Which then brings us to number 3, prediction number 3, Caila.
Awesome, Rick. Thanks. Our third prediction is all about when shoppers are choosing to shop. This season, we expect to see more shopping happening earlier in the season. So Rick talked about this a few slides ago when we were looking at the 2017 season. More shoppers in 2017 chose to shop earlier. This year, Cyber Week will account for 40% of the entire season's revenue. Think about that. 40% of the entire season's revenue will be generated in the first week of the season. That represents a 21% growth up over last year. Cyber Week's impact is huge, and it's growing every year. And when we break that down, what the days look like, we see for the second year in a row, Black Friday will be the biggest digital shopping day of the season. It's going to beat out Cyber Monday again. Cyber Monday will retain its position at second place for the second year in a row. We're seeing a lot of revenue being generated on Thanksgiving Day and during the weekend of Cyber Week as well. And the data is clear here. Your biggest digital shopping days this season will be between Thanksgiving Day and Cyber Monday. So not only must you be technically ready for these days, but you must play your best hand first. Shoppers that shop during Cyber Week most likely will not return, so you have to be ready for them early. And when we look back at the trends throughout the last few years, it's really never more clear how much steam Black Friday has been gaining. More shoppers are pulling earlier in the week, and this year, the Sunday after Black Friday will be nearly as large as 2017's Cyber Monday. But make no mistake, Monday is still a really big deal. It's the number 2 revenue-producing day of the year. So don't treat it lightly. And in fact, some retailers will feature Cyber Monday, will feature some of their biggest promotions on Cyber Monday. But, please don't be afraid to play your best hand early on in the week. Our data, like we just said, is showing that shoppers are coming out early to scope out the best deals, and they're ready to make those purchases earlier too. So like we just said, make sure that you're ready for your shoppers early. We're seeing, too, that as Black Friday pulls away, Cyber Week's dominance is a global phenomenon. More and more shoppers across all regions of the globe are concentrating their shopping in that first week of the season. And even in some countries like Canada, Cyber Week makes up almost 50% of the season's revenue. So the message is really clear here. Cyber Week's a global event, and you really must be ready for your shoppers early. Our fourth prediction is all about social. This year, Instagram will emerge as a top shopping channel. This season, we expect to see Instagram's growth outpace that of social overall. We'll see the rate of traffic to digital sites coming from Instagram growing 3 times faster than social traffic overall. And a lot of that Instagram traffic growth is being taken straight from Facebook. Instagram will start to become the shopper preferred channel, and we'll start to see glimpses of that this season. Social is a really great way to increase product discovery. When we think about how shoppers are influenced by social, the data's never been more clear. Nearly a third of internet users report that they're purchasing a product after they discovered it on either Facebook or Instagram. Social is an incredible selling tool for retailers. With over 1 billion active users, Instagram in particular is a great way to promote product discovery. And when we think about Instagram shopping, it's still a relatively new offering, but this season it should be a really important part of your overall selling strategy. So Instagram shopping is a great way to connect your shopper to your product quickly and easily, especially on mobile, where sessions are short and shoppers are really impatient. And this year we've talked a lot about how important it is, especially in that mobile experience, to connect shoppers to product as quickly and efficiently as possible. So by making every post shoppable, you're easily able to accomplish this goal for your shoppers. With Instagram shopping, retailers can tag up to 5 products for a single image post or 20 products for a multi-image post. So you have a lot of opportunities to engage with your shopper on a single post. And you can see here, retailers are already starting to take advantage of shoppable posts. We see Carter's promoting outfit ideas and collections to new parents, and Pier 1 is featuring gift guides and even inspiration for holiday decor. So think of Instagram shopping as an easy way to connect that social-inspired shopper directly to your PDP. Influencers are another great way to engage your shoppers in their social channels, and lately we've been seeing brands bringing their influencers out of social and directly into their digital experience. This is a really great way to build that brand loyalty and provide that connected and seamless shopping experience. Here we see that social shoppers are able to follow their favorite influencer's journey and even purchase their product recommendations directly through the Yeti website. This is a really cool way to engage both your influencers and your shoppers. All right, Rick, do you want to take our last prediction?
I'd love to, and let's talk about what everyone asks about, which is discounts and free shipping. What do I need to be thinking about in terms of offering discounts and free shipping? To be very clear, it absolutely matters to be discounting and to offer shipping for free to your shoppers. And I want to draw your attention first to the middle 2 bubbles, Black Friday and Cyber Monday. That is the absolute peak for seeing the biggest discounts, 31%, and of course, nearly ubiquitous free shipping, 84%. But maybe what's worth noting is beyond Cyber Week and those big days, the rest of the season, after we get through Cyber Monday in particular, generally operates like a non-peak period. You will still have discount peaks and valleys, but generally speaking, your entire season discount rate will be elevated, but will not soar above your non-peak period of time. On this chart here, we compare at the bottom the non-peak period of a Q2 2018 to what we're projecting for the entire season. So you see discounts are within a percentage point, whereas free shipping is a little bit higher during the season overall. Those are certainly influenced by what happens during the big Cyber Week period. There's a lot of noise from promotions. That's a battle you need to fight against and inside of in that first week. But there's some opportunities to get outside of that as well. Giving Tuesday is one of those opportunities that provides a little bit of relief from that just crazed shopping fatigue that everyone has. So as you may know, Giving Tuesday happens the day after Cyber Monday. And what you see here are some trailblazers, Burton, Adriana Papel, and Vineyard Vines, who have chosen to participate in Giving Tuesday. And what I love about what they've done here is they've given an opportunity to engage with the shopper on a different, more meaningful level. We've recently put out a report called Shopper First Retailing. What we found inside of that report is that shoppers are more likely to buy from brands that do offer a donation like you see in these cases here. And while we look at Cyber Week and those big days in particular as real just red lines and markdowns and heavy on promotion and everyone's inbox is damaged by all that, Tuesday's a little bit different. And even if there's a lot of competition per se on Giving Tuesday, that's interesting and compelling offers that folks might be putting out for, showing what they stand for as a brand. It's a great way to connect to a shopper in a more meaningful way, and we certainly encourage you to take advantage of that and to actually participate in Giving Tuesday. So we have reached our game time, and we play a game frequently called Buzz or Bust, and here's how it works. If you are for something, if you buy it, and it will happen and have an impact this particular holiday season, then that is a buzz. If it's not going to happen or have a material impact on shopping this holiday season, then bust. So, Caila, I'm going to put you on the spot for the first one. The first one is chatbots. This holiday season, will we see evidence of chatbots and having an impact on retail? Buzz or bust?
I think this is definitely a buzz. I think we're going to see a lot more retailers turning to chatbots, especially during Cyber Week when they're trying to deflect some of those high case volumes. And I also think we'll see more use of chatbots for things like guided selling. So I think this is a definite buzz this season.
And I am with you. I do agree this is a buzz. And here's one point of evidence that helps us look at that too. Here we looked at some of the customer service trends. So how do shoppers engage with customer service? And we looked at two particular digital engagement tools. Do you actually log a case, or do you use an FAQ? And we normalize those, so looking at a distribution of how shoppers use those tools across the shopping season. And what's interesting is when we look at this graph, we see 2 points where the two lines pull away from each other. And each one of those points means something is happening. There's a change in shopper behavior. They're preferring something over something else. In the first case, we see the blue line, which represents FAQ usage, pulls away from customer service cases, and that's during Cyber Week. So this is relevant because the biggest time of the year is Cyber Week. And during that season, we see a higher than typical use of FAQs. I think it's worth noting why, and one of the reasons why that's happening is we all know that staffing levels are depressed during this time. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, well, including Thursday as well, we tend to have lower staff handling calls at that point. So folks, shoppers are actually pushed towards FAQ. This is a great opportunity to inject some additional intelligence into some of your channels that might be always on. Things like chatbots can be really interesting and compelling during that first week, during Cyber Week. The other point where it gets interesting is the lead up to Christmas Day. That's your where's my order time. Wizmos happen most here. That's when call centers hear a little bit more call volume because they're actually getting those Wizmo requests. That's an expensive call, though, for the call center to handle. So can you inject additional intelligence either into chat or some other digital engagement tools that make it easier to connect that shopper with what they're looking for and answer to where their order might be? And our second buzz or bust is one of those headline grabbers, voice. So, Caila, to you, what impact, if any, will voice have this holiday season on shopping, buzz or bust?
You know, Rick, I'm going to have to give this one a bust. I just don't think we're there yet with voice. When I think about the way I use my own personal home assistant, you know, mostly just to punch up Baby Shark songs and animal noises for my 2-year-old. So while I think this will definitely be an important factor in the future, I just don't think it will be there for this holiday season. So my answer is bust. What about you?
Yeah, those are, to be clear, those are really good uses of it. But I'm also in the bust camp for this, and here's why. So we've been asking a lot of questions, certainly about the use of voice, been trying to analyze, see what we see for evidence of voice, and a couple of things jump out. First, there's a small number, but a number, 12% of shoppers who express interest in actually buying from voice. So in that case, we're tempered in the impact that voice can have. But what is encouraging on this, and while I'm still a bust, there's some encouraging signs. This is one of those, that of the folks that own one of those smart speakers, a Google Home or an Echo Dot or an Echo, we see that a majority of them, 70%, have used voice for some sort of shopping activity in the past 3 months. And we think this is encouraging, and while folks this season, I don't expect folks to be buying directly through their device for apparel goods and health and beauty and things that might not be perishables. But generally speaking, there's a part of the shopper journey that voice can contribute to, and we'll see certainly headlines about voice, but I think they'll be more focused on the smart speakers being purchased as gifts during this particular holiday season. Let's bring it all together, Caila. What to expect this holiday season?
Yeah, well, we're certainly in for an exciting 2018 season, Rick, and I'm looking forward to any surprises that may pop up along the way. But before we wrap up here, we have 3 main takeaways that we want to leave you all with. The first one is all about AI. AI will be everywhere, from bots to visual search, guided selling, and even in voice. This will be the most intelligent shopping season on record. The second is all about mobile. Mobile is going to put up some really big numbers in November and December, and with that, we expect to see even more mobile optimized sites, more options for mobile shoppers at checkout with greater use of mobile wallets. And we also expect to see some really cool uses of mobile in the store environment. This will be the year of mobile, so expect to see some retailers going all in on mobile. And finally, the season will be an important one for retailers in regards to service. Shoppers are going to be self-serving during the busiest times of the holiday season when they want answers fast, and even when they want products fast. So click and collect is going to be the expectation, so be prepared for your shoppers to use it. We have a lot of really great resources for you all to learn even more about some of the topics we've covered today. Our personalization and shopping report dives much deeper into personalization's impact on the shopper journey. Our quarterly shopping index is a battery of benchmarks that allow you to benchmark your performance against your peers. And finally, our holiday readiness guide is everything you need to know to prepare for the holiday season, from commerce to marketing to service. This is really your one-stop comprehensive guide on what you can do to prepare for a successful season. On behalf of Rick and myself, I want to thank you all for joining us here today. I hope you follow us later in the season as we unpack the season in real time to discover what shoppers are actually doing as they prepare for their holiday celebrations.
Thank you so much, Rick and Caila. That was a great presentation, fantastic statistics and insights. And I just want to remind our speakers that we're going to start Q&A. If you have any questions for Rick and Caila, please feel free to send them in. If we're not able to get to them, they can follow up with you afterwards, so please send your questions in. All right, so we have a few questions that I think we have time for, and we'll just kick it off with, and so this is a question about social, and I know that you guys have you discussed Instagram in quite a bit of detail, but this attendee wants to know if you expect to see social overall have a significant impact on traffic.
Yeah, this is a great question. Now, overall for the season, we'll see social grow to about 5% of all traffic, so social referring traffic to digital sites. And even on some peak days, we'll see social grow to about 7% of all traffic. But overall, its impact will be small, and its growth over last year will also be pretty conservative. So, you know, it will still be a small impact on traffic this holiday season. But nonetheless, social is still a really important tool, like we just talked about, for product discovery and even increasing your brand reach. So it shouldn't be overlooked as part of your overall holiday strategy this year.
All right, fantastic. One other question is, and you know, I know that you talked a lot about store and you talked a lot about mobile. This attendee wants to know if you think that tablets are going to be a factor this season.
Yeah, you know, we've been seeing over the last few years, tablets are having really a diminishing impact on traffic and orders. And when we think about tablets, we liken them more to computers than mobile devices, in the sense that when the shopper is shopping through a tablet, it's a much more deliberate action, much like a computer, than a mobile device. So it doesn't provide that convenience of the mobile phone. And as such, we're seeing over time that traffic and orders coming from tablets is slowing, it's declining. And that while we'll see a small percentage of shoppers this season utilizing tablets to do their holiday shopping, it will continue to have that diminishing impact on traffic and orders. So while you can't forget about tablet, it's definitely not going to have the type of impact that we see from mobile.
All right, good to know. Yeah, and that was definitely in line with what I was thinking about what's happening with tablets. So good to hear that confirmation. So I think we're going to get ready to wrap up at this point. Once again, I want to remind the attendees, if you have questions, please feel free to send them in, and our speakers can follow up with you afterwards. So again, thank Caila and Rick for the great presentation, and I want to thank our attendees for being here today and listening in. I'm sure that you're going to go back and review this presentation and have some questions and, you know, use a lot of this information in order to plan a very successful holiday season. So thanks to all of you. So with that, I think that we are going to wrap up for today. This is our last session in the series, so thanks for all of you for participating in the entire series, and have a great day.